The silence on Outpost Vega 9 wasn't normal. It was surgical. The station hung just beyond the Andromeda exclusion zone, far enough to be forgotten, close enough to be useful. No one was meant to care about Vega 9. It processed deep space scans, monitored relic anomalies, and cataloged dust. No weapons, no soldiers. Just researchers and one man who didn't quite fit. Lieutenant Commander Elias Rourke watched the data feed on a cracked tablet, while steam curled from the coffee cup in his hand. His boots were up on the console, one finger lazily scrolling through the last 10 hours of traffic logs. Nothing moved. Not even a whisper of background comms. 4 neighboring outposts had gone silent. He sipped his drink. Right on schedule. Behind him, the AI interface chimed. External drive signature detected. Broken vessel, class, assault carrier. 5 minutes early. Rourke muttered, finishing the cup and tossing it into a bin without looking. Let's make them feel special. He stood and stretched. His uniform was creased, half-buttoned, and didn't carry a single rank pin. He didn't need one. The crew barely saw him, and the brass pretended he'd been stationed here for oversight. The truth was buried under clearance levels even the AI couldn't read. Outside the viewport, the Vroken carrier loomed into focus. A monstrous triangle of black metal and red pulse lighting, drifting with predatory grace. A smaller dropship detached from its underbelly, flaring to life with plasma thrusters as it descended toward the docking ring. The scientists were gone. Evacuated 2 weeks ago under the pretext of a radiation leak. Rourke had filed the report himself. No one questioned it. He slipped on his jacket, checked the compact disruptor under his belt, then pulled a dull gray rebreather from the locker and clipped it to his belt. The station was already rigged: air vents, lights, gravity plates, and emergency bulkheads. Everything could be used. Everything would be. He walked to Bay 3. The external lights dimmed as the Vroken lander connected with the airlock. Hissing. Metal grinding. Systems struggling to adapt to the foreign pressure signature. Rourke sat on a cargo crate. Legs crossed. Elbows on knees. The doors slammed open. 20 Vroken troopers stormed in, weapons raised, red-armored titans, 7 feet tall, 4-fingered gauntlets twitching around neutron rifles. Their faceless helmets glared like black mirrors. He gave them a 2-finger salute. Took you long enough. The lead alien stepped forward. You are Elias Rourke. You will surrender. That's the idea. He smiled. Just here for the show. 2 Vrokens approached. One cuffed him, the other scanned his body. No resistance. No struggle. Rourke didn't flinch. They began sweeping the bay. Thermal sensors, magnetic scans, motion detectors. All clean. Exactly as he wanted. They marched him toward the command deck. He let them. The cuffs were real, but the override trigger was stitched into his right sleeve. One flick of a finger, and they'd fall. He didn't need it yet. In the corridors, the aliens moved with military precision. Formation drills, overlapping sectors, crossfire angles. He admired it. They were good. But not good enough. The Vroken commander's voice echoed behind him. Where is your command staff? Vacation, Rourke said casually. Might want to check the Bahamas. A heavy gauntlet struck the back of his head. He chuckled. Did I hit a nerve? Sorry. I thought the Vroken Empire was supposed to be unflappable. The Vroken said nothing. Rourke was pushed into the main control room. One alien began interfacing with the console, clumsy claws punching commands, attempting to override human systems. Another tried to access external comms. Both failed. The systems flickered. Then died. Lights cut out. Emergency reds kicked in. The hum of life support paused, then resumed with a lower, deeper vibration. What is this? Barked the commander. Rourke looked around innocently. Power surge. Happens sometimes. Old station, you know. The aliens spread out. One by one, they left the room, moving through the station in units of 4. Clearing sectors. The moment they stepped past corridor B17, Rourke's eyes narrowed. "Playtime," he whispered. He flicked his finger. The cuffs clicked and fell. 2 minutes later, the scream came through the comms. Shark gurgled, cut off mid-sentence. The commander spun to face Rourke, who was gone. They searched for him for an hour. Nothing. Then another comm unit flared to life in Sector 12. A Vroken officer answered. What came through was a video feed, grainy, shaking. A Vroken soldier hanging upside down from a ceiling pipe. Alive. Eyes wide in panic. The words, "amateur move," burned into the wall behind him in blood. The signal cut. Panic rippled through the alien ranks. Orders were barked. Sensors went haywire. Power relays overloaded. Doors sealed. Gravity inverted in Section 5. The air composition shifted, barely noticeable, but enough to mess with Vroken equilibrium. Some began to falter. Others raged. But none knew where the human had gone. The commander activated the emergency override to contact the fleet. No signal. Station shields were active. Comms blocked. They were trapped. In the crawl space above Deck 3, Rourke pulled the rebreather over his mouth, watching heat signatures pass beneath him. One group. Then another. He checked the timer on his wrist. 4 of the Vroken were already gone. Not dead, just missing. And they hadn't even hit the mines yet. He leaned back into the shadows, whispering into the calm. "You should have brought more." The Vroken soldier's breath rasped inside his helmet, fogging the inner display with each ragged exhale. Sergeant Vrail moved in formation, standard wedge, eyes scanning every vent, bulkhead, and flickering light. The corridors were tight for his frame. Human architecture always felt wrong, too low, too narrow, too unpredictable. He hated it. The station was silent, save for the dull hum of life support and the occasional mechanical twitch from failing ceiling panels. Still no sign of him. His second-in-command growled over the comms. "He's here," Vrail muttered. "Bleeding sensors don't lie." But they did lie. Or something was making them. Their squad had just come from Deck 5, intact and clear. Then Private Kren vanished. No alerts. No gunfire. Just gone. "Movement," came the whisper from the rear. "Sector 7, high thermal spike." "Fan out," Vrail ordered. "Corner him. Don't let the humans slip." As they turned the corridor, the lights above shifted. Just slightly. A flicker of white, a pulse of red. Then darkness returned. Something brushed his shoulder. He spun. Nothing. Elsewhere, in the maintenance tunnels running above the primary reactor conduits, Rourke moved like liquid shadow. He knew the station better than its schematics. Better than its builders. He'd lived in it for a year, alone with silence, drills, and contingency plans. This was never about defense. It was about control. He reached the maintenance node above Sector 7, pulled back a panel, and rewired the coolant feeds to vent a fine mist into the hallway below. Not enough to kill, just enough to obscure vision and lower the temperature. Vroken helmets didn't handle rapid thermal contrast well. He dropped 2 sensors into the duct, one heat emitting, the other pulsing an interference signal. A heartbeat pattern. Simulated. Believable. He hit the switch. Sergeant Vrail saw the shimmer first, movement behind the fog. "There!" he barked. "By the conduit!" They charged weapons up. One fired. The plasma bolt struck the wall, scattering sparks. No scream. No body. Just static. Then, something hit the floor behind them. A soft clink. Metallic. Vrail turned too late. Flash grenade. The corridor exploded in white. Their optics overloaded. Audio sensors screamed. Vrail dropped to one knee, instinctively switching to manual vision. A figure darted through the mist, low, fast, precise. One of his soldiers fired blindly. A scream. Guttural. Wet. Then silence again. "Rock!" Vrail cursed, shaking off the white fog in his vision. 2 men down. 1 to a blade. The other, he didn't even know. The enemy didn't run. Didn't hide. It hunted. In the command center, High Marshal Crosthorne stood before the flickering hollow map of Vega 9. Red blips marked squads. Blue anomalies pulsed and vanished without pattern. "This is not war," one of his lieutenants growled. "It's sabotage. Cowardice." Kraz said nothing. He'd reviewed Rourke's file. The human had no command authority. No army. No fleet. But he'd led 6 missions in hostile alien space, missions no Vroken dared enter. His name was whispered in diplomatic back channels. A strategic specialist. A ghost. "He's using our strength against us," Kraz said finally. "This station is his terrain. We are prey." The lieutenant opened his mandibles to protest. "Send in the heavy teams," Kraz ordered. "Seal decks. Flush oxygen. Smoke him out." "And the reactor core?" the officer asked. "Still no access." "Then force it. I want every system in our hands." He looked at the map again. One blue blip lit up in the reactor chamber. Then another in the medbay. Then 3 more in the airlocks. Decoys. A chill passed down his spine. Rourke crouched inside the hollow shell of a discarded thermoregulator. He watched as 2 Vroken soldiers passed beneath him, stalking the empty engineering bay. One tapped into the console. "Dead." Rourke leaned into his mic. "You boys ever learn how a fusion coil ticks?" They froze. His voice echoed through the room. No clear origin. "Because you just activated the wrong sequence. I suggest you don't press anything else unless you want to see what meltdown imminent sounds like." They retreated fast. Not because of the threat, but because the voice didn't sound angry. It sounded amused. Back in the security hub, Rourke found his surviving allies. 3 crew members, Ensign Malra, Dr. Vinitz, and Chief Tech Anand. Civilians, mostly. Scared but sharp. "You're alive?" Anand breathed. "We thought you were." "Dead?" "Working on it," Rourke replied. "We don't have long." "You still remember the plan?" Malra nodded. "Split power lines, reroute oxygen, bait them to the hydroponics lab." "Perfect. And the traps?" "Primed. They step in the wrong place, the gravity flips." "Good," Rourke said. "Let's see how well these lizards do upside down." Across the station, chaos unfolded. Vroken squads reported faulty gear, missing soldiers, hallucinations. Their own tech turned on them, doors slamming mid-command, lights strobing, comms hijacked. In hydroponics, 2 units were lured into the mist. Then dropped 20 feet by a gravity shunt and locked in a zero-oxygen chamber. One tried to claw their way out. They never got the chance. Dr. Vinitz, now manning the life support grid, whispered, "They think this is war. But it's a maze. And we're the ones holding the map." Crosthorne finally snapped. "Enough," he snarled, striking the console. He stepped away from the command table. "Prepare my shuttle. I'm going in." "But sir, if we do not end this soon, the Empire will see weakness. This human must be eliminated. Personally." He stared at the screen. No fear. Just cold calculation. In the lower decks, Rourke reset the last proximity mine. He glanced at the flickering panel. The Vroken were faltering, breaking formation, making mistakes. They weren't used to fear. He keyed his mic. "Earth Command. Vega 9 engaged. Situation under control." A pause. Then the reply. "Acknowledged. Do you require support?" Rourke smiled in the dark. "No. Let them come. Would you like to continue to Chapter 3? High Marshal Crosthorne descended into the underdeck of Vega 9 in full command armor. 8 elite Vroken warriors followed, each a veteran of over 30 planetary sieges. Their exoplates pulsed crimson, enhanced with magnetic shielding and adaptive targeting. Their reputation was unmatched. Until today. The station groaned as it adjusted to their mass. Pipes hissed above them, and floor panels vibrated like something alive. Even the silence felt heavy. Kraz took it all in, mandibles tight. "This is beneath us," growled one of his lieutenants. Kraz didn't answer. He studied the shadows. They were being watched. Above them, through a cracked vent, Rourke tracked their movement with a stolen Vroken scanner. He wore an old tech cruise suit, blacked out, with a custom faceplate that showed no heat signature. The Ghost program had trained him to be invisible in every spectrum that mattered. His voice came through the station-wide comms. "Calm. Controlled. Welcome to Level 3, Marshal. I'd offer a tour, but I'm all out of brochures." Kraz paused mid-step. The humans weren't fighting with strength. They were weaponizing presence. This wasn't sabotage. It was dominance, without exposure. They had no map. No clarity. No control. Behind Kraz, another soldier shifted. Nervous. "You brought elites," Rourke continued. "Good choice. The last ones barely made it 5 minutes. One of the Vroken cursed, raising his weapon. "Don't," Kraz warned. "They're listening," Rourke said, as if he'd heard them directly. "Always." Then the lights went black. Kraz switched to infrared. 4 signatures vanished. 3 flickered erratically. "You're used to winning by fear," Rourke's voice whispered. "So let's test your own." A sudden shriek split the corridor. Not human. Not machine. Something synthesized, tuned to Vroken auditory receptors. The sound pierced bone. One soldier dropped to a knee, clutching his head. 2 others fired blindly. Kraz maintained position. His hand clenched. "Silence it." No response. He turned. The soldier who had screamed first was gone. In the next corridor, Dr. Vinitz watched from a secondary monitor feed, her hands trembling as she rerouted another pressure valve. The sound design had taken her 2 sleepless days, a blend of broken distress calls and synthetic shrieking, amplified just enough to trigger neurological stress. Rourke called it emotional extraction. "System 12 sealed," she said into her comm. "Time?" Rourke replied. 45 seconds before they breach secondary." "Perfect." He was already moving. Kraz's squad entered a tall chamber, likely a storage hall, though everything had been stripped. Just crates, shadows, and one light flickering above. The motion detector picked something up. Ahead, near a large container. A human. Slumped. Bloodied. Unarmed. The squad raised weapons. "Scan!" Kraz ordered. The Vroken scanned the body. Human DNA. Heat signature active. Minimal threat. Kraz approached. The corpse lifted its head, barely. Pale. Eyes swollen. Lips cracked. "Don't let him win." Then it exploded. EMP burst. All 8 Vroken suits shorted instantly. HUDs went blank. Shields dropped. Comms dead. Only Kraz remained standing, his armor partially shielded. And in the dark, someone laughed. Rourke slid down a cable behind them, landing silently. He moved like oil through water, low and precise. One soldier tried to pivot. Too late. Rourke struck the power node on the back of the neck, disabling the suit. As the alien fell, Rourke grabbed the plasma blade and flung it into the darkness. A scream. Another drop. Kraz swung around, eyes scanning for movement. Still nothing. Then the station lights returned briefly. 6 Vroken lay unconscious. 1 was gone. Only he remained. Kraz activated emergency override. His armor rebooted. Rourke stood 10 meters away. Unarmed. Not even breathing hard. Kraz raised his rifle. "You think tricks make you a warrior?" "I'm not a warrior," Rourke said. "I'm the reason your kind sleeps with armor on. You hide in walls." "No. I let you walk into mine." Kraz fired. Rourke ducked behind a column. The bolt scorched metal. Then click. The floor dropped. Kraz's boots slipped as gravity shifted for just half a second. It was enough. His shot went wide. His stance broke. Rourke was on him in 2 steps. He slammed the butt of a scavenged rifle into the side of Kraw's helmet, denting it. Kraw struck back, knocking Rourke across the room. The human hit a crate and rolled. Kraws advanced. This ends now. Rourke smiled through blood. Agreed. He pressed a trigger. Behind Kraws, one of the unconscious soldiers triggered a pressure plate, rigged by Rourke 10 minutes earlier. A wall of vented coolant erupted into the room, chilling the air instantly. Kraw's optics frosted over. His vision blurred. His targeting failed. Rourke lunged again, this time with a plasma knife. The blade met armor, skidded, then bit into the seam under the collar. Kraws roared, shoving Rourke off. They stood across from each other, heaving. Why fight? Kraws barked. You're one man. I'm the one you shouldn't have woken. Meanwhile, Ensign Maura activated the final seal. The Vroken fleet, still orbiting Vega 9, received a system-wide alert. Biohazard detected. Automated quarantine engaged. No exit. They attempted override. Failed. Then a final message broadcast across all frequencies. From Earth Command. Observation complete. Vega 9 operation is contained. No further assistance required. Let them understand. Kraws stared at the message. His fleet had abandoned him. He looked at Rourke again. Not as prey, but as something else. Something worse. You don't win, Kraws hissed. You survive. Funny, Rourke replied. That's exactly what makes us dangerous. Kraws Thuin's blood seeped down the joint of his armor, warm and bright against the cold metal. The gash at his neck wasn't fatal, but it had rattled him. Not because of pain. Vroken warriors were bred to feel pride in pain. No, this was different. This was fear. Across from him, Rourke moved with quiet purpose. No drama. No declarations. Just the steady presence of a man who had long since stopped seeing combat as exceptional. The fight was over. Kraws knew it before it began. Still, he activated his final defense protocol, an exoskeletal spike deployment meant for breaching tanks. The shoulder plating hissed and expanded. Spikes snapped into place. Rourke raised an eyebrow. Really going full porcupine, huh? You won't leave this place. Kraws growled. I never planned to. 10 meters apart. No air support. No drones. No backup. Kraws charged. Rourke didn't move until the last second, then sidestepped, pivoted, and slammed his knee into the back of the Vroken's leg. Kraws stumbled. Rourke drove his elbow into the gap behind the shoulder spike, targeting the exposed nerve junction. Kraws roared and twisted, landing a glancing strike that knocked Rourke back. Rourke landed in a crouch, breathing steady, eyes locked. You're strong, he admitted. But you're not built to adapt. Kraws threw another punch. Rourke ducked. Drove his blade into Kraws' hip. It didn't cut deep, but it threw him off balance. You came for a war, Rourke continued, circling. But war's not about brute force. It's about pattern recognition, misdirection, endurance. Kraws lunged. Rourke caught his arm and twisted, using Kraws' own momentum to flip him onto the deck. The Vroken armor clanged against metal as sparks flew. And humans? Rourke said, pressing his boot against Kraws' chest plate. We endure better than anyone. Kraws thrashed, but the pressure was surgical. I should kill you, Rourke muttered. Kraws hissed. Then why don't you? Rourke leaned in. Because death is too simple. He stepped back, disengaging. Kraws rose slowly, cautious. What do you want? He asked. Rourke tapped the side of his visor. I want the galaxy to remember what happens when someone wakes up the wrong kind of human. He turned toward the terminal embedded in the wall and keyed a code. The lights across the station shifted, white to blue. A signal pinged the Vroken fleet above. Then Earth Command. An automated message triggered, booming across every channel and system. Operation concluded. Target fleet neutralized via psychological isolation. Commander Rourke requests no retrieval. Message delivered. Kraz stared. You're not leaving? Nope. This was a suicide mission. Rourke glanced at him. You think this was suicide? Kraz didn't answer. He watched as the final schematic on the screen expanded, a 3D model of the entire station overlaid with red and gold markers. The full scope of the trap. Every route. Every trap. Every decision predicted and countered. Kraz had never been outgunned. He'd never been outmaneuvered. He had never been outthought. Back in the security wing, Maura and Anand watched the feed in silence. He's not coming back, is he? Maura asked. No, Anand said quietly. He never meant to. They transmitted the full logs, sensor data, comm intercepts, field reports, back to Earth Command. Within minutes, the feed went dark. Vega 9 sealed itself completely. The galaxy wouldn't see what happened inside. They would only hear the whispers. Kraz stumbled through the remains of the corridor, blood dripping down one side, breathing heavy. The Vroken fleet had gone silent, either withdrawn or waiting. But the shield kept them out. Rourke had locked it from the inside. He followed the dim light toward the bay where it had all started. There, sitting on the same crate, was Rourke, coffee in hand, legs crossed. No cuffs this time. Just quiet. Kraz approached slowly. You knew how this would end, he said. Rourke sipped. I knew you didn't. Why me? Rourke looked up. Because your empire forgot the one thing every predator should remember. What? He stood. That prey fights hardest when you corner it. Especially when that prey comes from Earth. Kraz stood still. His armor beeped, low power warning pulsing. Rourke tossed him a data drive. The Vroken caught it. What is this? He asked. A reminder. For who? For whoever you report to. He didn't watch Kraz leave. He didn't need to. The Vroken climbed into a shuttle, silent, bloodied, and for the first time in his long military career, uncertain. He didn't speak a word on departure. The shuttle vanished into orbit. Weeks later, the Galactic Coalition received a message from the Vroken Empire. We withdraw all military operations near human territories. Effective immediately. No explanation. No apology. Just silence. And from that silence, a legend began. They said a single human had held off an empire. They said he never fired a single shot. They said his station was now considered off-limits by every known species. Some even said Vega 9 was haunted. But those who knew the truth simply called him what he was. The wrong kind of human.